All right, good afternoon. We're at Ecne. Our mission statement is to empower people by giving them prime sources of information. So, tons of information sources out there. Everybody throws their own flavor and spin on it. What we want to do is give people a direct connection to prime sources of information so that they can read what's going on and make their own decisions on everything. So what we did with the app was, first thing we connected it to was the daily digest from Congress. So everything that happens every day that Congress is in session, they put out a daily digest, huge document. Taking that and being able to use that to use keywords within that document to limit what you're seeing. So if all you ever care about is like what's going on with the national parks or waterways or anything like that, Ukraine, put those keywords in there and it'll give you results from what any day that Congress was in session that they were talking about something that related to that keyword. Like I said, we connected directly to the API for Congress, so you get those feeds right from them. It breaks everything down into keywords. And then the way the setup was, we leveraged containers and Fast API and that allows us to integrate with other data sources pretty quickly. Also pretty low cost. Our explanation of our connections are right there. And then we're going to go into the demo.
So I'd first like to say that it was a pleasure working with the team. We represented a lot of diverse skill sets from the back end to the API. We have some, front-end expertise, data munging, data analysis, product visionaries, and it was a pleasure and it was fun. Thanks to BayHacks as well. So it was kind of wishful thinking that we just go to the Congress API and get it. It wasn't that they were able to give us like different days, but then it directed us to PDFs. So our pipeline, as you can see in the back there, we had to go and actually parse the PDFs, which is honestly one of the hardest parts to do. We used the LangChain pipeline to read in the PDFs, kind of do some heuristics to identify the different sections. We used LangChain to do the info extraction. We hooked it up first to OpenAI, but OpenAI, for whatever reason, didn't do as good job as Gemini did, so we went with Gemini. Then we took that information and put it into a vector store, which in this case we used ChromaDB because it was more an embedded database. We didn't want to get too complicated with using something like Pinecone. And then we created the Chroma database. We hooked it up to a Fast API. We created some endpoints and React on the front end to be able to ask questions. So as Clint is showing there, this is our application. You can filter by tag. So the idea is to be able to, so I forgot to mention, when we info extracted from it, we basically told GPT, extract tags, extract who's talking, extract like the sentiment, extract and like a quick summary. So we put that all into the metadata of our vectors. So this is where it's actually getting it from. It does okay job. And then you can also augment it with text. So we created like a RAG system, a retrieval augmented generation system, to be able to pull back that information. So click is going to hit search. And you see that it gets back the text. And I think the important part of this, and our mission statement kind of talks about it, is that you get the text from where it's actually sourcing the information. But the important part is that when you click on it, you go to the source information. So you can click, and then it takes you to the actual thing that we parsed. And at this point, it doesn't actually take you to the right the specific section, but it gets you closer than it did before. And if you can just go back really quick. Yeah, and just for us, this is some of the additional metadata that we so the category, the people that I mentioned, the different tags, and I think a lot of those different metadata that we're extracting from it is something that can enhance more the experience, and you can filter, you can slice and dice, and.
How do you expect this to be consumed? Like, how do you see a user like actually using this as a service? Like, am I gonna look for certain things every day, get an email, or am I going to be able to like query this as an API or what?
Well, I think it has different sets of users. I mean, from a normal person who doesn't have access to this or doesn't really know anything what's going on in Congress, they'd be able to have this window into it. And obviously, there'd be the pundits and the things who want to slice and dice. So I would imagine that like a Joe Schmo would be able to come in and say, hey, what's happening to the national parks? And then get the specific documents that will take them to the bills or something that can describe what the person is looking for, whereas like someone who's looking at this every day can maybe get updates.
And I guess any potential revenue models?
So I think because we wanted this to be able to be open to everyone initially, I think there's probably go like the NPO route, maybe we could hook up with the other application that we saw there, and we can have our little entry there. But also, I think that for the more pundit type people, then, and especially using the LLM and the RAG system, which require a lot more consume, maybe it'll be more subscription based.
So how would this be different from searching in ChatGPT or Gemini or the latest integration of Google with Gemini?
Specifically because we're taking a lot of that information and we're going through it, and what you don't get out of GPT, even with its 1.5 million tokens now, is the ability to keep track of that information. So right now we're only hitting that and putting that into a vector database, but I can see us augmenting it with something like a knowledge base. And so you're actually getting information from this knowledge base that we build up. So you get a little bit more truthful, I don't like that word, like truthful information that you can get back.
Thank you.
Could you expand a bit on your use of the vector database Pinecone? So what is it you're storing there?
So we ended up using ChromaDB, which is an embedded database. We didn't opt for the Pinecone route, but we basically took what we parsed out and put it into documents, and then we used embeddings using the Gemini embedding model, and then those embeddings put it into the vector database so that when we query either the tags or the actual question, that kind of creates its own embedding and then says, hey, give me these documents that are very similar to the question you just asked. Then those documents get stuffed into the prompt that will give you the context, and they'll be able to answer your questions based on what you asked.
All right, nice.
All right. Thanks, folks.